So we are on ChatGPT. I wanted to first share this prompt that I created because I feel like it's important to touch on our current market, at least here in Austin, Texas.
Let's do that. Hey, what's the URL that you're using? Oh, I can see it right there. So chat.openai.com.
Yes. And I used information that was shared via Eric, and is it Bramlett?
Yeah.
Yeah, he sends an awesome market update, and just a shout out to him because he is an awesome resource, and I'm thankful for his information. He sends market highlights, and so I basically use this in the prompt, his key highlights of what our current market looks like, and it's tough for sellers and realtors at the moment. So I wanted to pick ChatGPT's brain, and I prompted it to act like a top producing agent who's netting $3 million a year. I set it really high. Awesome. And I wanted to know its business strategy for still staying profitable. I'm not going to go into the details. You can read it here if you want, and you can pause it or whatever. Mm-hmm. But this is how I prompted it. And I gave it all of the market conditions based on real highlights, right? On key points. And it generated a lot of awesome ideas, a lot of practical, pragmatic things that you can be doing, focusing on first-time home buyers, emphasize property upgrades and staging, develop our off-market strategies. I mean, these are interesting ones. And obviously, once again, think critically, utilize advanced digital marketing techniques, partnering with local mortgage brokers and financial institutions, host educational seminars and webinars. I think what we're doing right now, in the context of finding buyers or sellers, is a really good one to consider. Leverage my existing client base for referrals. Expand into an up-and-coming neighborhood, into up-and-coming neighborhoods. This one is a really good idea. Where people couldn't originally afford to buy into, you could be showing them neighborhoods that eventually will appreciate in your area.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, like, arguably, some of these suggestions are basic. It's like, yeah, seminars or farm a new neighborhood, or, offer exceptional customer service. That's pretty basic. But scroll down a little bit to some of those the other direction. Some of those first recommendations. Well, and wouldn't it be, and I'm thinking out loud here, of course, it's like, okay, they give all of these suggestions, and this is where you have to be the critical thinker. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Some of these suggestions are pretty basic. Okay. It's grabbed information from all sorts of resources in terms of how to run a highly profitable real estate business. But you could identify, it's like, well, wait a minute, what are 3 strategies in here that are really intriguing to me, or particularly that I think really have potential? And then I can take that one and prompt it more.
Correct.
And say,
you beat me to it. Yes.
Yeah. Because on the surface, you're like, well, dang, some of this is kind of basic. What do I do with this now? So what's the next step then?
Now, the next step would be to, like you said, let's say you can identify one, right? And I asked it to continue and give me more. For example, you could take one of those things that you really liked, and then let's just say, let me go back up here. Where did it go? Utilize digital tech. Okay. You could say number 4.
Okay.
Give me 3 ideas. Where to go? Utilize digital marketing. That in core.
Okay, so it's very specific.
I'm drilling down. I'm saying, what tools do I have? Mm-hmm. And so the more specific you get, like I was saying, using the analogy of a Volkswagen, yellow, 10,000 miles, you start employing like what tools you have. You have to still use your brain. And you still have to use, your own education and your own skill set, and then expand on it. Then you can still take this even further.
Yeah. Well, and this is a good example. I mean, you still need to drill down. So you could take one of these and say, specifically give me step-to-step for the highest ranking smart campaign on KV Core, something like that.
Here's the other thing too. This is where it gets crazier. So this is still general, right? Well,
yes.
This is where your own education comes in. Now, what social media platforms run on? They run on algorithms. Okay, well, how would you want to study the algorithm? So it's like, what you would look for like Instagram, based on Instagram's algorithm, what kind of content in real estate should I be posting and when? Or taking, taking other platforms. So that was just an example of using like very specific topics or specific tools and then drilling down even further. So this was one idea to at least get your brain cooking and going, and then helping you set up a route or setting up a game plan, right? The other content that I created that I had generate was for new agents, which was I had basically told it what I was going to be doing, talking on a podcast about AI and ChatGPT. And and it actually corrected me. I wanted to use the book, this book here, what is it? The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. And so I asked it to basically generate an outline of the principles and techniques from it. And it did all of it. So that's another thing. You can actually draw the books that you've read and have it actually compile the principles and techniques from those books, so they're easily accessible. So you can actually brainstorm them how to use them, employ them. Mm-hmm. And so it continued and continued. And then I had it generate a questionnaire, so that way it could help me identify what my goals are and how to employ this strategy for becoming a millionaire real estate agent, right? So it has the visions, goals, and all the rest of it. So that's the questions that it's asking me, right? Well, I didn't know how to answer the questions, but there's another really good book by Julie Nielsen called Success Faster, right? So I said, create an outline of principles and lead generation techniques found in the book Success Faster by Julie Nielsen. And then it referenced you, and then it did. So it drew an outline of the principles and techniques, right? And then I said, answer the questions based on the information in this outline for the questionnaire previously created. Don't restate the question, only generate your answers. And so it generated the answers for that book's outline and questionnaire into it. So basically answered based off your material. And so this is like an outline to get people brainstorming, basically, right?
That's awesome.
And then I took it a step further because we want to get this done. We want to make $1 million, right? So I said, create a 12-month action plan based on these answers. Put it in a fillable table, break it down by month, week, day, and hour. Create a page for each month and week. Use only April for an example because, we don't want to generate a lot of these pages. So it did. It broke each one down. Week 1, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, time allocation. And so it gives you everything that you should be doing according to your answers of the questionnaire. And so you can take this even further and further and further. And the more you personalize it to what it is that you're trying to do, the better it becomes. So these are just ideas of what you can do. And mind you, I created these just for examples for this podcast. So they don't retain a lot of personal stuff to me, and I don't have a lot of intellectual, motivation and in the material. But if you do, and there's something that you're working on, then it produces better generatives. For me, for example, going back to the example of the property laws, and I can actually show you that too. So tenant, Texas, let's see, where was this? And I think I was using GPT-4. So according to Texas tenant laws, is it legal to ask a resident to pay for all expenses for maintenance and repair? And of course it says I'm not a lawyer, whatever, but then I re-prompted, cite the law that supports your answer. And it apologizes.
Oh my God, it apologized.
Yes. So brings up the laws. And it says, of course, it states all of its things, but then it provides it. And if we click on it, there are the laws.
Yeah.
And of course, then I gave it a scenario. I fed the scenario to it. Yeah. So, and you can go back and pause these if you want to read it. And then of course it breaks it down step by step and analyzes the scenario according to these laws. So this was more pertinent to what I was needing. And like, it actually created things that were helpful for me. Once again, thinking critically and reading everything and knowing what is useful.
I love this. So it's interesting. So let's do this. Stop your screen share and let's.
Sure. Before I do that, would you like to see the resources?
Yes, let's do that. Yeah.
I don't know if I can move this bar. Okay, there it is. So here is learnprompting.org
Okay. Okay. That's the
is one of the
URL.
resources that I first went to. And this will break down everything how you need the basics, basic applications, and intermediate, applied prompting, advanced applications, reliability, image prompting, hacking, all the rest of it.
Okay,
So
that's
that will,
cool. Good
yes,
resource. And of course, the main URL again was chat.openai.com. Oh, and
yes.
what's this?
This is basically the ChatGPT prompt book. This is all about, it's about prompting, but it's more about like how it works and the technology. It's a little technical, but it's good as a reference to understand like how it's working and the potential of it. Talks about authors using it to fill in backstories for characters they were stumped on, and they integrated it into their
Wow,
work.
that's fantastic. I'm just thinking, I'm thinking real estate, and one thing that came to mind, like if you have a really big team, so there are massive teams, in the country, I think it'd be really good for a very forward-thinking, really big team. So these are the massive, massive, massive team producers in the country, for them to have like one person on the team who's really a ChatGPT expert, who can really be cranking out some stuff to help improve what they're doing, help create efficiencies, help serve their clients at a higher level, screen leads, write better blogs.
So there's something to consider. You know how I referenced your work and Gary Keller's work, is that you can ask it to act like Julie Nielsen based on her work. And how would she ask a potential lead questions and phrase it in that style? And it would, generated based on all of the information that it's read about you. So you could do that for like, what are some of the best questions? Give it specific people. Gary Keller would ask a lead to vet a lead, and then it would give you a set of questions based on like what they would ask from the information they've created. So that's something to consider. Now, there's one other thing I wanted to share, because ChatGPT is only one AI in your toolbox. So Future Tools Collection and Organization, organizes all the best tools here. So you can go here and you can actually sort through a lot of the AI tools, because not all of them are going to work for you in what you're doing in your everyday life, but you can actually see what other tools are out there and available. Some of them are actually built off of OpenAI's technology, and they integrate it through APIs into their platforms. But like if you video editing, it'll bring me what I need as far as like different tools.
So, okay, so I want to summarize here just a little bit, a couple thoughts. Okay, if someone really is forward thinking and they're techy, it would make a lot of sense to lean into this, to study up, to at least attempt to stay current, and to use this right, to at least start. For some agents, this is just a total rabbit hole that they probably don't even need to touch. That AI is functioning in a lot of the tools that we're using in our industry. One simple example is in your CRM, where and most of them do this. Ours does this, but it's rating a lead. It's weighting it as to what is the likelihood that this client lead is a strong lead or not. That's an AI tool, and it's working in the background to help you rate that client. I think really kind of this podcast is primarily for the more techie, forward-thinking agent who is looking to provide more content, better strategies, fine-tune their strategies, and in a way with kind of the latest technology. You've given some good resources: the learnprompting.org, the ChatGPT prompt book, futuretools.io.
And those are resources that I came across through weed eating, through all of like the mass information that you get once you do dive into that rabbit hole. There's a lot of useless stuff. Those are the best ones that I've come across. If you scroll down on that learn prompting, there's a few YouTube videos, and those are good YouTube videos. It's so new and so fresh. You're not late to the game. And if you have a knack for this, you'll be better for it in your industry. This is just a tool. You're not going to make billions from this like some people would advertise. What you're going to do is you're going to make your money from what you're already doing, but you'll be more productive doing it.
Yeah, I would like just for practical purposes, and of course, this is what I'm thinking for me is I would think of kind of three main things that I'm focusing on in my business. You could think of three main things you're focusing in on your business, and then think of how I could use ChatGPT to do it better or more efficient, or and that'll take a little research, takes a little playing around. You'll type some stuff into ChatGPT prompt that gives lousy results, but you just have to remember it's like when you input a lousy question, you're going to get a lousy result. It's like, oh, wait a minute, that wasn't useful. Let me reword this, and let me reword it again. It's like, well, wait a minute, let me learn.
Here's the other part too.
This prompt. Let me look at this prompt thing a little bit. But I'm focusing on my key business objective.
Right. And I wanted to actually say this on that first prompt, given the market conditions. If you notice, it didn't consider the market conditions. If I went back and kept the prompt there, but added, you must incorporate the market conditions, it would have regenerated, and it would have incorporated all of those aspects. So that's one thing that when I was reading it today, I was like, I could have reprompted it to actually generate.
Reprompt it. Yeah.
Yes. And you can go back to the same prompt. So you can go back up to what I had and click the little edit button, and then just add to the bottom, restating, you must consider these market conditions, and it would have regenerated. Yeah. So that, like I said, specificity, the weight of what you're saying, the jargon that you're using, keeping it all within that thing, it will make it better based on, if you are vague, it will be vague.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting too, because what if, let's say you put out a newsletter to your clients in Sphere once a month. This is a standard thing for realtors to do and for businesses to do. And part of that monthly newsletter is you really included some good market statistics, or even a little video, 3-minute video of you outlining just a couple of the most important market statistics of what's going on in your area at the time. Could easily use the ChatGPT to help you fine tune that data, or to even create a 1-paragraph discussion of these two market statistics. Of course, and it would give you that paragraph.
If you plug in the context or the content, it will wrap itself around it. So going into your market, the statistics, copying and pasting it in there and saying, write me 1 paragraph, right? And then it at least gives you the idea, and then you can punch it up, plug it in, range it, and say, now I need you to add how this is affecting local businesses. Or, give me some ideas of creative, interactive posts that I can share on Instagram about this. Just to give you an idea, I asked it to generate a 90-day action plan for being more connected in the community. And it gave me how many people I needed to interview a day in different businesses, in different areas, and how many posts I needed to be making per day, per week, for different areas and whatnot, and different contexts for interviewing people and things like that. So, I mean, the more creative you are, the more creative it is. So it is, you're the limiter. Just learn how to play this instrument, and, it will definitely, it'll pay you back. I mean, it's great. It's incredible what it's doing for people in all areas. If you're wanting to learn or remember books that you've read, that's a big part of what I've used it for, is I've asked it different things about, I wanted it to pretend like it was the author of a number of books that I've read. And I primed it. So in other words, I said, according to this book, according to that book. Now, according to these works, what is X, Y, and Z according to so-and-so? And then it will generate all of that. Kind of like what I did with you in Gary Keller's book, yours in his book.
Yeah. I was writing a blog article the other day, and I think I was just curious, but I had heard, there's advice when you're writing, there's advice that says, look, you need to write, don't be writing at a collegiate PhD level, and not that I was, but it's like, so I posted, I pasted in a paragraph that I had written, and I said, rewrite this paragraph from a 5-year-old's perspective. And I was that was a little tongue in cheek for me, but I wanted to see what it would do. And it was hilarious, but it actually it freshened it up a little bit. And I used a couple things in there just to not necessarily dumb down my paragraph, but it lightened it up. So
what's wonderful.
So it's like you could say, rewrite this blog article for a 6th grade audience,
What's wonderful, I have a friend of mine who works at Spy Cloud here in Austin, and people ask about what she does in her job. And this is when ChatGPT first came out, and she's tech heavy. I mean, that's what she does. And she typed in a description. She goes, explain my job. And then she's like, oh, okay, well, that was nice. Now make a rap song out of it. And it made a rap song out of it. And make a rap song like Eminem is rapping it. Okay, now turn it into a poem. All right, now let's make jokes about it. And so she just prompted and prompted and prompted and prompted, like, so your imagination is the limit here. And it doesn't stop just at what you do. This is about learning and having fun and being creative as well. Now, just so it doesn't stop with just words. You can take a picture of something and feed it a picture and ask it what's off about the picture. Or I want to design an app that looks like this, written on a napkin, and it will design, an app based on how you drew on a napkin. Let's just say you have a house that you need to stage. Okay, what can I put here to make the space look bigger? You take a picture, feed it into OpenAI, and then it tells you what you could possibly do. Add a mirror here, change the color, open the windows, whatever. So it doesn't just stop with this. I mean, like it's goes a lot deeper, the sky's the limit. I had 4 items I wanted to know what to cook with, and I asked it some ideas to generate me some menu items.
Oh my God, that's a great idea.
For ingredients. Oh yeah. And I wanted to keep it keto friendly, or I wanted a vegan meal that had, 80 grams of protein in it. And so it generates what you need. So the sky's the limit. And, your imagination is really the only thing holding you back. And it does come back around to the way you prompt. I will say, I keep coming back to that first example I gave. It was vague, but I guarantee you, if I had sat there and plugged away at it, it would eventually do what I wanted to do. And that's where it goes to. And that's what I encourage everyone listening to this is that get on there, prompt. If it's a gross or just sad prompt, reprompt and reprompt and reprompt. And eventually you will see it generate something. It is still learning too. And you're learning from how you're prompting, because it's instant feedback. So like, that didn't work, but you saw how I used it with the Texas tenant laws and other things like that. And for, comparing books and cross correlating information. So it works well.
Okay. I love this. So ChatGPT, I've learned so much from you. I love having you in my circle.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I don't know anything. Trust, I know nothing. I'm just providing I'm a finger pointing to the resources that, you can find stuff. I would love to have more discussions like this in the future, because I mean, this is not going to end. This is only going up. So
I love it.
This has been great. And thank you for inviting me to do this. I really appreciate it.